Today is Sunday, the 15th of December. What a year. September's been brutal. We're still here. The songs that have been through a storm, and it lasted forever. But I didn't know the storm would last from September to December. Longest storm on record in the history of the country for Abaconians and Grand Bahamians. But I'll speak about Abaco because I know Abaco. I was in the storm. I'm still in the storm, and it's still lasting forever. But the amazing thing, you have to get educational of this and put the good on one side, the bad on the other side. But the bad about this is when you speak to people about the government response and the lack thereof, the FNMs, who I thought are very brilliant, they will take the side of the government as if the government, because they are the government, have all the brains. You got to remember the government are people just like us. We foolishly sometimes elect them because we thought they will do better. So far, that is not happening in North Abaco. And the thing that disturbs me, when I said I was in the storm, Kai Mills lost his mother because of the hurricane, lost my home, 3 vehicles, my job, my city, and my island. All of those I've lost. And when I would say that the government first response was to eradicate the Haitian community and have not focused at all on the residents of Abaco. And I told my member of parliament, my cousin, my friend Darren Henfield, I said, my brother, the song said, the woman told her husband, I have 1,000,000 reasons to leave you. Give me one good reason to stay. And I say to the residents of Abaco, give me one good reason to vote FNM again. I'm not being political, I'm being truthful. After what we've gone through and continue to go through, give me one reason to vote FNM again. Our Prime Minister, our members of Parliament for North Abaco, South Abaco, they visited Greenhill Key, had a town meeting there, passed by Treski, all the rest of us, gone to Gorna Key, in Manawa, where the Manawa people shut the door on them twice, but twice they went to Manawa. Those people out there don't want to see them. Then they went to Hopetown, had a town meeting in Hopetown. And to date, from September to now, they've had not one town meeting in the biggest, most affected areas of Abaco. Mashaba resident haven't had a town meeting. Dundas Town, Murphy Town, and Central Pines have yet to have a meeting with our MP. And this area, if Darren Henfield gets 75% of the votes, the election is pretty much over. And to date, having met with the local government officials that are elected just like him, I think they think that the local government board went out to the sea. That doesn't mean anything in Abaco anymore. But these are the people that the people trust to look after their local affair. And they said they're trying to bring local government into Nassau. Because that happened in Nassau after a huge storm. The persons that know their district best has been shut out eternally. Not one word to the local community. And the people in Nassau, the FNMs, they would say the government is on track to spend $7 million to eradicate the Haitian communities with no idea where they're going to put them. They say they're going to beat them at the gym. They just not planning. So when you take them at the gym, where are they going to come? I know where they're going to go. Right in those $5 million domes you're putting in Spring City proper. That's where they're going to go. Listen to Kai. That shall come to pass. But the thing about it is that the government, after spending all this money, haven't brought 50 sheets of plywood to help the residents get back to some type of normalcy. But yet, today, at the primary school at CAPS in Dundastan, Central Pines proper, there's over 100 sheets of plywood, over 100 rows of plastic to put on your roof. They're sitting there from September. The Jamaicans brought them there. And just how they put them there, people need them today, and they're still sitting there. When are we going to get some help? I talked to the leaders of the opposition, Brave Davis. I said, Mr. Davis, you guys have been on a tour for a long time. Y'all already made about 3 or 4 tours. If y'all mean Abaco well, if you would have brought 100 sheets of plywood to Abaco, you would have surpassed what the F&M government is doing with $7 million. You imagine 100 sheets of plywood means more to Abaconians than $7 million that they spend in the mud, the peas, sandbanks, and the farm? That would be helping Abaconians. And don't y'all never ever say that the Haitians are dumb and stupid. The Haitian got more sense than the Bahamas Defense Force. That is why they play dominoes at the Defense Force base, harass Bahamians. The Haitian, right over there by Yamaka Beach, sailing in right now. We got hundreds of $millions of a high tech, and y'all call the Haitians stupid. Who's the fool? The worst organization in the country, Defense Force. They can do their job. Everybody know what they do on the streets of Abaco. These persons have hurt Abaconians more than anybody. Remember, in the beginning, people brought hundreds of generators, food supplies into Abaco for Abaconians. But because the government evacuated us into Nassau, the Defense Force took hundreds of them under their wings. And I bet if the Minister of National Security would do his work, his homework, go and see who was in Abaco in the beginning, the Defense Force, go to their homes, their Ma house, their Pa house, their sweetheart house. You would find the generators that Abaconians will still need. We're so desperate that we are not at all looking out for our neighbors. You imagine you're sleeping and your neighbor takes your generator because they're tired sleeping without lights? That is not acceptable at all. But there were enough generators that were brought in for Abaconians that the people that's supposed to protect and to serve our liberty and uphold our constitutional rights, these were the bastards that were breaking all the laws and continue to do so in Abaco. They took all the generators. We're now trickling back into Abaco because Abaco is our home. We will rebuild. But it would have been so much easier if the Defense Force and the police force were to do their job and secure those generators for Abaconians. It would be so fruitful the 15th day of December, 4 months after Hurricane Floyd, if this uncaring government would bring 200 sheets of plywood in. If the opposition was smart to bring 200 sheets of plywood in, and boy, what a day that would be. You imagine Darren Henfield had a giveaway that didn't happen, but there were 800 people waiting for supplies. They weren't waiting on no food and no dirty clothes, those hand-down clothes. That is over. That's been over a couple months ago. Clothes and water is not going to get you to back to some sense of normalcy. That is over. Building material. It's the people's time. It is time to take care of people. How can you fathom it that the government, after the most devastating hurricane in this hemisphere to hit my township, the first thing the government did is to deal with the legal problem, and 4 months in, they're saying to hell with the natives and trying to get them back to some sense of normalcy. 4 months in, not a sheet of plywood, not one thing that I could say, something that should have happened 2 months ago. December coming up. It is December, the 15th of December, on a Sunday, still no building supplies. When every time I see the boat comes in, they didn't even recognize whoever doing the fence as a fence dummy. He didn't even calculate how huge the mud and the peas was. Every boat that comes in has trailers and trailers worth of fencing material. Man, that is so heartbreaking. Millions of dollars worth of fencing material and not $1 million worth of plywood roofing material for the residents of Abaco. They care more to date about the legal problem than trying to get their own people that voted F&M back to some sense of normalcy. This is my saying. You're live on WCAY, telling my story of the disappointment of this caring people's time F&M government.